Hello everyone, so this is going to be a quick squat tutorial, okay? So when you're doing the squat, if you're going to do it on a bar, I'm going to show you the other versions that you can do, but I'm going to show you the barbell squat. When you're setting up with the barbell squat, you want to make sure that the bar is around like chest height. I don't want you to have it high and then have to tippy toe out of it when you're doing it, all right? So chest height. Your grip does matter. If you have shit mobility, you're going to have to be wider and get under the bar. But if you have pretty good mobility, I would say thumb away from smooth. This is the smooth, this is the knurling, that's the rough part. Thumb away from smooth, okay? And then from there, get under the bar, get both feet under the bar like this, close, and under your traps. When people put on the pussy pad, that's because they're putting it on their neck. Don't put it on the neck, put it on your traps. And then from there, stand up, come out. Your stance doesn't matter. Do what's comfortable. Make sure you breathe and brace. And squat. A parallel squat is when your hips and your knee are aligned in a straight line, and that's a good enough squat. And if you can go all the way down, do it. You don't have to, but parallel would be just good enough. Now this part is kind of important because no one's squat is going to look the same. It depends on your anatomy. Like if you have longer legs, it's usually harder to squat. So what I would say is that if you have longer legs, don't be afraid of letting your knees travel forward more to squat. You see how my knees are over my toes, but for me, this is comfortable. If I do this with a heavy weight and try to squat like this, it hurts my back. So I push my knees forward so I can squat to depth. So if that's you, just let your knees travel forward. The other thing is that the squat isn't just in the knees. Like you're not just bending your knees down to squat. You also have to open up your hips and let your butt sink down into your ankles to do a proper depth squat. If your ankle mobility is limited, like if you can't do this by putting your knee, driving your knee all the way forward and letting your heel and your toe stay on the ground, then you'll most likely need plates that you can step on, and that'll help improve your mobility. If you can't do the barbell squat, then you grab a dumbbell and then you just do a goblet squat, or you grab dumbbells and put them on your shoulders and you could just do a squat like that. Same thing. Okay, if you're doing a modified version of this workout, or if you have some spare time and you want to throw these into your routine, here's how to do the hip thrust. With the hip thrust, again, a lot of the principles are the same. I wouldn't get too high of a box. I think this is already kind of like relatively high. Most benches around 18 inches. You really want to get something like this, or you see those red ones over there? You can grab two of those and stack them and go anywhere from 12 to 14 to 16 inches is usually about right. When it comes to the hip thrust placement, you want to get the edge of whatever you're leaning on to be right under like your shoulder blade, like right here. So let's say I'm about to get down here. It's the crease is right over my shoulder blade right there. Okay? Now this is the common mistake that I see people do. Most people, this is not even good hip thrust position, but most people when they hip thrust, they look up and they hyperextend their back like that. So this puts a lot of pressure on your back once you have some serious weight on. So what I always tell people is, so where the ceiling and the wall meet, that's called the patch J. My girlfriend told me about that. But that crease that you see, this one's pretty high up, so I wouldn't look that high up. But you basically want to keep your eye line like right there, and it's going to be about common. It's going to be in that area. Your eye line is right there. So when you thrust up, you're not looking up, you're keeping your eye line there, and you're just scooping your butt up like this until your glutes are engaged. This is how you avoid lower back pain and keep all of the tension in your glutes, just by doing this. If you're at home, you don't have a lot of equipment, you could do a single leg. Or if you have a dumbbell, you could do a dumbbell on the single leg to fix imbalances. Or once you have a barbell, you can use a barbell and just make sure to put the pussy pad on the center, or else it's gonna hurt your hips, but you roll the barbell onto you. Get your hips and knees in a good position and do the same thing. Now, when it comes to your setup on your legs, this is what I've noticed from experience, is that if you're too in like that, you might feel too much pressure in your quad or your hamstring. Yeah. And if it's too out, you might feel too much in your hamstring and not necessarily your glute. So you want to make sure that you have around a 45-degree angle in your knee. And when you do the hip thrust, you don't want your knees to be collapsing in like that. You want your knees to be pushing out. So you could even put on a hip thrust band and just push out, and that'll fire up your glutes. You'll get maximum tension and you'll be able to feel the burn and the pump. But keep a 45-degree angle and just thrust up like that. Okay, and just very quickly, this is a hip thrust band. So you just grab it, put it over your knees like this, push it out. And just by doing this, your glutes will start to be on fire. Just by doing that. Added with some weight and some tension, it's gonna be even more on fire. So I would highly recommend investing in this if you wanna feel a greater pump while you're at the gym, or if you wanna intensify your workouts if you're working out from home. Okay, this is your chest press movement. I went with the chest press machine just because, again, they're very user-friendly and I don't wanna overcomplicate the program. But when it comes to a chest press machine, I would say that one of the biggest things that people do is that they crunch in the machine like this, and they're crunching in like that. So try to avoid that, because if you do that, that's when I was like saying, you're tight in. You see how my shoulders kick forward like that? And what I'm gonna end up doing is pushing with my shoulder as I press. So you don't wanna do that, you wanna avoid that. So if you do have a machine like this, where this one, if you push it down, the handles come forward, that'd be cool, because from here, you could bring your chest out, shoulders back and down, and then grab the handles. Shoulders back and down is important. Don't crunch in like that. Have your chest out, right? You can grab these handles like this, or you can grab these handles like this. It doesn't matter, but I like these. And then from here, you wanna keep your chest up. A lot of people collapse, so as they're coming down, they do this, they sink. So don't do that. Come back and press. So when you press, you wanna make sure that you're getting a deep stretch in your chest. So if you can adjust the seat, like the recline seat, you can adjust those usually as well. And that'll make it so when the handles come back, you're getting a deep stretch on your chest. Like this is actually tapped out. That's the deepest I can go. And then from there, as you push, don't roll your shoulders forward like that. Just push your arm out like that. You see I'm keeping my chest up and engage. So don't roll your shoulders forward. Just lock your elbows like that. Okay, seated row. Remember, it's just a horizontal pull, so it doesn't really matter what exercise or machine you use, it's gonna be the same principle, all right? But most of the time, if you end up using a machine, it is gonna be more user-friendly, like it's not that much of a learning curve. So when it comes to a machine, it really just depends on the height of the seat, and if it's chest supported like this, how much distance it needs to be between the handles and you. So you just don't want it to always be touching the plates when you're rowing. You kind of want it to be gapped like that, okay? Now you could row with the neutral handles and row like this, or row right here. Really doesn't matter, as long as I would say, to keep good form, think of puffing your chest out like this. So when you're rowing with your chest out and you're just driving your elbows back. It's not really in the arm, like you're not curling your arm back like that. Your arms are just hooks, and then your elbows are guiding you in just driving it back. Okay, the hyperextension, and remember, this is gonna be a weighted hyperextension. Most of you probably can do body weight like just fine and just easy. Okay, now, when setting up the hyperextension, you wanna make sure that the edge of this padding, the edge of this is right at the crease of your hips, like right here. So when you set up, you can adjust this, and that's right about at the crease of my hips. Make sure that your heel is pushed up against the pad like that. All right, now the common mistake people make when they do this movement is that they feel it almost exclusively in their lower back right here. But you should really feel it from here all the way down into your hamstring. So the mistake that I see, and I don't like showing it to people this way, is that when they do it, they do this. They do that. And if you did that, and especially with weight, and you end up telling me that you have lower back pain, I'm not gonna be surprised. So in order to avoid that, what I like to teach people is you wanna keep your chin down, and as you're coming up, you're almost thinking of curling up like that, using your glutes to pull you up, like that. So you see I'm not doing this, I'm doing this. My glutes and my hamstrings are on fire trying to hold that position. So once you master that, you can practice a few with body weight, and then you can move on to, like, you grab a plate or you grab a dumbbell and you could just hold it. And let's say this was a fucking dumbbell right here. You just grab it like this and just do that. But you're gonna get strong at that pretty easily. So once you can accomplish that, you're gonna move on to, you could do like these loadable bars like this, or an easy bar, and use that. The easy bar is a squiggly bar. And that you could grab a snatch grip or a close grip, and then you could just come up like that. Do the same thing. Okay, the bicep curl. This one's simple. Remember, it's just elbow flexion. You'd be surprised how many times people get this little thing wrong. So the only thing that I want you to avoid is when you do this, your elbow should stay to your side like this. So when you're curling, your elbow doesn't move. It's just your forearm. So you shouldn't be coming back like that when you're doing them. Your elbow should just stay in the same place. It doesn't matter if you're like this or like this or like this. However it is, it's like wherever you pick your spot for your elbow to stay, it has to stay there and basically lock in and then flex from there. So pick whatever weight or whatever stance you could do leaning like that. It's all the same shit, just as long as your elbow doesn't move. All right, this is your tricep movement. Remember, the tricep is this muscle right here, right? You have 3 heads, doesn't matter. All right, but remember, tricep extension is anytime your elbow does that. Anytime your elbow moves like that with some sort of resistance, you're training your tricep. So this is my go-to, the lying tricep extension. Grab your dumbbells. As they get heavier, you're just gonna have to rock with them back like that. But when you get down, this is not your starting position. You can push up like this, but from here, give it a slight lean. And that'll actually activate your triceps because you're holding this position so they're engaged. From here, you could cock your wrist back because it'll make it just a little bit easier because you want to lead the dumbbells into your shoulder like that and then extend. What I always tell people is to throw the axe. Okay, now the only thing you want to keep in mind is you have to come down to your shoulders. A lot of people do this. So come down to your shoulders, and it's similar with the bicep curl. My elbow is not moving. My elbow stays in the same position every single time. You see? Elbow doesn't move. The only thing that's moving is my forearm. So think of it like a hinge. Just your forearm is moving, and then just throw the axe. Once you're done, you can set them down, come back up, and then you should be good. Okay, so this is a weighted plank. So like I said, most people struggle with the plank, and a lot of people struggle even progressing them and taking them to the next level. So this is where the weighted plank comes in. Now, just a few basic things when it comes to the plank. So it doesn't matter, like some people do them like this, some people do them like that. I don't care how you do it, it doesn't matter. You're just doing a plank, right? So I've always done them like this. You could do them that way if you like. The only thing that you want to keep in mind here is that the purpose of the plank isn't just to hold that position. The purpose of the plank is to be engaging your core. So if you're doing the plank and your lower back caves in like that, then you're not doing the plank anymore. You have to keep your back engaged and your core engaged the entire time when you're doing the plank. What I always tell people is that you're almost tucking your stomach. So if I'm here, it's almost like I'm tucking my stomach into my back. My lower back. You're tucking it in like that and engaging your core. The minute that your lower back does this and collapses, you're done. That's not the plank anymore. You're just hurting yourself, so you can just stop. Okay? Now, because you are doing a weighted plank, it gets a little bit finicky sometimes with the loading. The best way to do it is just with plates, and especially the bigger the plates, if you have like a 10-pound plate. So this is a 10-pound bumper plate. Very thin. Okay, And like I said, most of you should be able to get to a 45-pound plate. And just so I can demo and demonstrate to you, I mean, I haven't done them in a long time. I think the most I was ever able to work up to was like 3 plates. So here's a 45-pound plate, 45-pound plate, all right? So I'm gonna show you how to do it. So there's 2 ways. The first way is you grab it and then you put it over your back like this. And it's a little finicky, but you should be able to do it. And then from here, you go into your plank position. And if it's on your upper back, lower back, mid-back, mid-back, upper back, you're totally fine. You don't want to place it on your lower back. So that's one way to do it, just the way I showed you. The other way is if you're here, you could slide it here. And this is probably the easiest as it gets heavier. You slide it up like that. And then from here, you do your plank.